So like I was saying, I think it's kind of crazy because when it first happened, I think everybody was shocked. Honestly and truly, I haven't been keeping up with the Nicki and Cardi drama for a really long time, just because I feel like it's petty and it'll never get to the point to where they're actually putting hands on each other, which is the only thing that's going to help it at this point. I mean, not even help it at this point. At this point, it's over and done with. Like it's in the ground, and we know everything that there is to know about the situation from behind the scenes. So I don't think that any of us should ever expect a reunion tour between Nicki and Cardi, and I don't think that any real fan of either or lady would want to see that either, because it's just been so much push and pull between the two of them that I don't think organically that this thing that after so much negative, like volatile energy, I don't even think that it'll get to that point anymore. So in retrospect of it all, I think that the relationship or any possibility of any relationship between those two just organically would mix. And honestly, I've been rubbed so wrong by the situation that I don't think that even me as a Barb, I wouldn't want to be in the same vicinity as the Barty gang, because we all feel too headstrong. You know what I'm saying? I feel like mine is right, you feel like yours is right, and at the end of the day, there's always going to be that bottom line. At the bottom line, how you started it is how you gonna end it. And if anybody tell you any different, they lying to you. I think the massive part of the entire debacle was finding out that that there was a possibility on God's green earth that we were going to have a joint tour between Nicki and Cardi. And I think when Cardi first popped and the energy was really organic and it was still like minuscule, the issues between the two of them, I think that was the perfect time for them to do it. You know what I'm saying? Even if they didn't like each other, I wish they had pulled a Brandy and a Monica. Okay, maybe I don't like you that much, maybe you don't like me this much, but we finna get this money. But it just ended up falling through completely, and that's pretty heartbreaking to see, because to our great big acts. And so with Nicki being a great big act and Cardi, garnering the potential, I think that would have been something really major for us to see. I've been here 32 years. I've never seen MC Lyte, Queen Latifah, Foxy Brown, Lil' Kim, Charlie Baltimore, Vita, Roxanne, Lauryn Hill. I've never seen those ladies do a full-on joint situation together, and it breaks my heart because I almost feel as if we possibly won't ever get it. I think that would have been a really big opportunity for them. I would have really, really liked and appreciated that, but it has turned into something extremely dark and nasty. And I say that because it revolves around the kids. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie to y'all. At the end of the day, I think that everybody has a breaking point, and I think that when you're in enemy territory, all is fair in love and war. So if you say something about mine, I'm going to say something about yours. And if I really don't care about you from the depths of my soul, I don't give a shit what I say to you. And so for everybody sitting up here acting like they're the bigger person, I would never say that. But I'm pretty sure everybody has. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was heartbroken when I seen that Nicki didn't have the self-control to allow those words to actually leave her thoughts, for her to type them and then press send. I can feel her on that level of anger. Like I said, when you're in enemy territory and, it's do or die, you doing what you got to do. But also, and at the same time, I just wish that it wasn't my fave who had actually had the balls to get up there and do that. You know what I'm saying? I think that's some shit that her and Cardi could have hashed out in person, or she should have been throwing insults and shit like that when she had the chance. But to wait this long for it to be what it was just really tasteless, and it hurt me to see Cardi calling Night her bear. Nicki calling Culture ugly was just so outrageous, like bitch. Y'all not even like beefing on the street enemies. Like, this ain't no girl, you fuck my man, I fucked your man, you call my mama a crackhead, la 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 la. This is over some, not even petty, because money's involved. And at the end of the day, when you're threatening someone's livelihood, or their livelihood feels threatened, they are going to react in a certain type of way. And I'm not gonna lie, I can sympathize with both parts. And Cardi, being a Libra herself, said that she can also sympathize on two levels. You know what I'm saying? I'll always sympathize on both scales. Like, what you said might have been wrong, but you may also be hurting because of this. And also, I can respect Cardi's level of disrespect, because sometimes you do have to like pull up the roots of sometimes you do have to pull at the root of a person's issue in order to get them to see this shit is deeper than me. And you coming up to me because I got enough balls to come up to you, but at the end of the day, let's really talk about it. We could be beefing about some shit, but at the end of the day, you taking the beef too far because you got this to worry about, sweetheart. And I can understand that wholeheartedly. It's like me as a happy-go-lucky girl, you know what I'm saying? I don't really let too much bother me, but I know a lot of people who let a lot of shit bother them. A lot of people who would let a lot of situations eat them up, and so they just regurgitate the pain and the disrespect that they've had to deal with in their younger years. And they think that if they keep spewing that rhetoric at you, that, you know what I'm saying, it'll make you just as volatile. But it's like, I don't even have to feel the way that you feel because I didn't have to go through what you had to go through. And also, I think that's another thing that really itches Nicki's ass about Cardi, is that Cardi truly didn't have to take the route that Nicki did, but Cardi's route wasn't less treacherous. Cardi literally started from her bedroom. Like, mouth crazy, nose all wide as all outside. Like, she looked crazy. So to say that woman hasn't earned her spot in the game because she was ushered in under a new set of rules, sometimes you can't hate the player, you just gotta hate the game. And recently I found out that, you know, I was watching this Little Kim interview. Shout out to the person that posted. I'm going to post a little flick of it. But I was recently watching the old Breakfast Club interview with Charlamagne the God and Lil Kim. And I was flabbergasted that Charlamagne told Kim that she was disgruntled. And I tell people all the time, even as a barb, I was grown enough to see that what Nicki did to Kim was kind of like not cool. And I love Lil Kim. At the end of the day, Kim is the queen. Nicki's the queen. And you know what I'm saying? I was never a big fan of that Lil Kim and Nicki Minaj shit. I always thought that shit was corny no matter how old I was. I was in high school at the time, and I had just moved to New York City around my high school years. And so I was introduced to Nicki like from the start. You know what I'm saying? Like from the start. So I've always been a big fan and I loved her. But the same with Lil Kim. Like I can still rap those words word for word, baby. Those bars word for word. Like back in Kim, nobody was fucking with Kim back in her day. You know what I'm saying? She was truly a 101 and she's a legendary. You understand what I'm saying? Like legendary. And Kim is another person who I felt like, you know, she just kind of let it go because at the end of the day, it's like, I don't gotta go as hard as you because I've been there and I've done that, sweetheart. You coming in after me. So everything that you do after me is perfectly fine. But, you know, nobody's better than the original. And so I say all of this to say that it was really hurtful to see that they were both emotionally unintelligent and disgruntled enough to allow their personal demons to outshine the positive love and effect that they have for their fans and for the artistry. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody keeps saying, get in the booth. You know, Cardi, granted, she did kind of welcome some of that energy because she was going back and forth. She was being combative, competitive, slick at the mouth, jazzy, talking a bunch of shit on all of these apps. And when Nicki came to collect, it was like, okay, well, why you bothering me? You started it. But I think that it just boiled over to a new level for Nicki because I never thought I would see Onika lose her footing. And the one thing that I want to say to Nicki and to the Barbs, the one thing that I'm going to say about the entire situation that rubs me wrong is that the one thing that I believe that Nicki could have taken from Cardi, and maybe she did, but I believe that Nicki waited too little too late. I believe she should have used her feminine grace and power after a certain point in the game and started to express where she was coming from and how she felt as a woman. Cardi uses the power of a woman to her advantage all the time. Very dainty, will talk very softly, will try to be very pretty and, you know what I'm saying, prissy, and, you know, just put on a demeanor that she doesn't really mean any harm. She just wants to come off as soft. She just wants to be a woman, you know. She's just coming from a loving place. And, you know what I'm saying, how can you be wrong when you're coming from a place that's so pure, like the heart and the love of a woman? Like, how can you assume that I'm doing something so audacious? Like, I'm a lady. I could never. And Nicki uses that, but in a queen sense. I'm a queen. I could never be. And honestly, as a black woman myself, I'm coming to this realization as I'm saying it out loud. Sometimes it might be better to act out of your feminine energy and not the divine feminine. Divine feminine is here to collect. She's here to wreck. You know, she's here to cause chaos and bring order. I think that the spirit and the heart of a feminine woman is just, you know, how can I make it better? You know, let's just try to live in what we have right now and make it beautiful. How can we make it cohesive? And I don't think that Nicki ever came from that spot. And I think that, you know, the Barbs, we love that because it's that fire energy, like that bossed up, like that I got it, like I can't be fucked with. And I'm coming from the feminine place in my heart. You know, I'm coming from the female place in my heart. You know what I'm saying? I'm operating as a little old lady. I'm saying a queen who's Thor arming in type shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know what's best. And you're going to do this. No, how about we do this? I'll make a couple mistakes. And then, you know what I'm saying? We see what happens because of that. And I think that is where Cardi shines through and she gets her most love and support. And where Nicki will be seen as the bad guy. And I also understand where Nicki came from when she was like, you know, I'm only doing this because, you know, Cardi did it. But you should have did it to Cardi back in the day. You should have did it immediately after she did it. You waiting 6, 7, 8 years and now doing it. It seems malicious. It seems hateful. It seems mean. And you're attacking an innocent child who's already facing enough adversity as it is. Her mom is facing a divorce from her high profile father. You know, their relationship doesn't seem to be cohesive as far as on a family level. So it's like, you know, you just picked the wrong time. But I think that Cardi, I'm not gonna let Cardi get away from this also, but I think that Cardi is just as much of a bad influence. You're fully pregnant and you know the energy that, you know, you've been carrying, the energy that you carry. And also, I can respect Cardi because I respect Cardi as a mom because I know how it is to be a real bitch and a real mom at the same time. Take me as I am. You get me? And so I don't have a problem with that, but you have to know when and when not. You getting online and spewing hate for this lady as if your baby is already born, as if you done laid down to make babies is crazy. And I'm not speaking no foul play over nobody's child. You know what I'm saying? God bless the kids. And God takes care of fools and babies. But I don't think that Cardi is a fool or a baby. I think she's fully capable. I think she stands in that energy when she feels that she has to protect her children. And there's no issue at all with a woman having to get down in the... Bitch, let's get in the mud when it comes to mine, for sure. For sure. But I wish that Cardi had showed that she had more restraint instead of falling for the bait that Nicki gave her. And then you just dragged it. Everybody just dragging it. Fuck you, your mom, your dad, your brother, la 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 la. And it's disgusting. And if you ask me, I think that 65 to 75% of the world has been traumatized through some very dark situations. And so for Cardi to have enough backbone to get her ass online and make fun of what was potentially desecrating to Nicki Minaj as a child whom had no control over those situations was really, really nasty. Really nasty. Really nasty. How dare you laugh at the molestation of a child in a familial pattern at that? It gets to a point where and I'm at the point as a millennial and just as a person, due to all of the negativity and all the harm and trauma being done to black people, black women, black children especially, I think that is just extremely distasteful. And it makes me sad. Like, having to say these things out loud and like thinking about it, it's sad, bro. Nobody give a fuck about nothing or nobody. Nobody cares what they say. Nobody is mindful of what they say. Don't nobody just give a shit. And I think that's just absolutely disgusting. Like, y'all are two of the most powerful influences in the world. And y'all get up on the internet and show everybody that y'all are niggas. Y'all are niggas. And there's nothing wrong with being a nigga, but y'all are niggas. What happened to keep it behind closed doors? Yeah, bitches was bold enough to get on the internet and talk about each other's down to the ground like dogs. Matter of fact, not even dogs, because dogs can't talk. Y'all got down to the ground. Y'all hate each other that bad? I wish that Nicki did act her age. I'm not going to lie about that. I wish she would act her age. I wish she would grow up and, you know what I'm saying, be an icon. Like, you ain't got to be boring. You ain't got to be quiet. You ain't got to be docile. You ain't got to be meek. But you ain't got to be so rah-rah all the time. Like, you too old to still be feeling like that. Like, your chest don't hurt from all the yelling and stressing and, you know, just doing unnecessary shit. Like, I don't ever see y'all niggas on no vacations. All y'all niggas do is get on the internet and argue about shit. The IG girls be on vacation more than the celebrities. If something ain't starting to add up, y'all need to do some more vacations, honey. Everybody needs to log off. It's time to make Finsta accounts and find something productive to do. Because